This is the 8-Bit Beast and welcome to my Crashed Rewarped Speedrun movement tutorial. The idea of this tutorial is to show off the speedrun movement tech, and I'll show every type of level, but I won't show every single level in depth. Now I'm going to be giving this from a TAS point of view, because my experience with this game is TASing it. But I understand that not everything is possible in RTA speedruns, and some things should be left as TAS only. So I'm going to show you everything that I can, and I'm going to tell you which things you shouldn't do, and that'll depend on how much you want to risk in your speedruns. As I've only TASed this game, I'm no expert at pulling off these things on an actual controller. So for a tutorial from a perspective of a speedrunner of this game, I would really recommend Dustiel's 105% tutorial, which I'll link in the description on YouTube. So I'm going to be using input displays for this. So up here we've got lots of inputs, up, down, left, right, all that stuff. So yeah, lots of that stuff, and hopefully that can help you see how some of the tricks and movement tech is done. And I'm going to be using this display here. So what I've got on the side here is a script, and it's kind of a unique one. So it's a really old version of something called ScriptTalk that when I started this TAS I took and I edited a lot of stuff, and I broke a lot of stuff in the process, like the level and the box count, but I've grown attached to it, so that's the one I'm going to be using. And yeah, I've just thrown in lots of stuff that isn't coded very well. But I'll link the newest version of ScriptTalk in the YouTube description, and if you want to use this and have some speed and position displays and stuff like that, then you should definitely try that out. And it'll run on any version of Bizhawk, and the difference is it'll actually be coded well rather than my garbage script. So yeah, I'm going to be playing on the US version, USA. So the Japanese version is alright for this game. The title screen's a bit longer, and there's some animations when you break Aku Aku crates. The PAL version is annoying. Because I live in Australia, I play the PAL version if I play it on console. And yeah, it's annoying. There's less Aku Aku crates. The driving levels, the boost physics is a bit weird, and you sometimes can't avoid jumps. Yeah, it's just a mess. So yeah, US version is the best for this game for speedrunning. But you're lucky, because if you live in a PAL region, Crash 2 is good. If you live in US, Crash 3 is good. And if you live in Japan, Crash 1 is good. So wherever you live, you can always do some Crash speedrunning. Okay, so first thing I'll mention is that a lot of people use R1 to slide. So that's good. Or you can use circle to slide, up to you. I would recommend R1 because that's less to do with your thumb. But I use circle just because that's what I'm used to, and yeah, so with speedrunning, try and get used to R1, and I probably would if I started doing RTA attempts at this game. Okay, so I'm using D-pad as well. I've heard of some people using analog, but once we get into the tech and talk about zigzagging, I think you'll see that I don't really understand how they can use analog. But yeah, I'll be using D-pad, but it doesn't really matter. If you can do really fast movements left and right with the analog stick, go for it. So that'll be something that you should see Dustiel's tutorial for, or talk to speedrunners about which one is better to use. So with platforming, basically you walk, and we're looking at this XZ velocity here. So you walk in at 7, you walk back in at 7, any direction at 7, so that's alright. But then you slide and it's 12, and you spin, it's still 7. So sliding's good. But whenever you slide, you get stopped at the end of it. So you can chain it with a spin into another slide, or you can chain it with a jump into another slide. And the best type of movement in this game is to do something called an NSJ, which stands for neutral slide jump. So what you do is you slide, you let go of the D-pad or analog stick at the end of the slide before you jump, and you jump out of it. So notice that I've got a save state with the slide started in it. So I'll do that with the neutral jump there. So I get about to the end of the bridge, but You don't get as far with just a normal jump. So if we look at what's actually happening there, so let's slow it right down. So you do a slide, you get to 12 velocity, watching this XZ velocity again. And if you jump out, you go straight to 7 velocity if you're holding forward. But if you do a slide and then you let go, you jump out and you're gradually decreasing from 12 down to, I guess, 7. And then you would want to start holding forward when you get down to 7. And yeah, so you can see that if you slide and then hold forward when you jump, you hit a speed cap in the air. But if you don't hold forward or any direction when you jump, then you don't hit that speed cap. So naturally you go a bit further because you're at that high speed for longer. So yeah, that's basically what NSJs are. And I guess the other option for movement is slide spin. But that's, we'll see that slower in RTA. So the next thing I should talk about is zigzagging. Zigzagging is not to be confused with zip-zagging. Zigzagging just means like when you're running, you wobble in the perpendicular direction. So if I'm running forward, I'll wobble left and right. If I'm running right, I'll wobble up and down. Like if I'm running right, I'll wobble up and down, and so on. Yeah, running back, you wobble left and right. Running left, you wobble up and down. So that's zigzagging, and so it doesn't really work on the ground, but it does work in slide. Now, my theory for why this works is if we look at the analog stick, so this is like an analog stick, and so you go in a direction and you get full speed, basically. But yeah, so that's full speed, I guess. So you can see he's going 7 there, 6.84 because I'm a little bit under the full thing. But anyway, yeah. So you go right on the edge of this circle and he goes at full speed. But then this circle is kind of like the analog stick. But the way that the coordinates work is, I guess you can go further than it. So if I go completely up in the corner and then I pause the emulation, you can see I'm going at about 9.8 speed. This velocity is pretty accurate, so about 9.8. And well, why is that? It's because on the edge of this circle, you're going at full speed. But if you go out here, you're further than the edge. And I mean, if this is full speed, call it at length 1 for one lot of full speed. And if the height is length 1 as well, because they're both the edge of the circle, then this would be the length square root of 2. So you get square root of 2 times full speed. That's just from Pythagoras. And well, I mean, if we look, so our full speed was 7. So if we look here, square root of 2 times 7 is about 9.8. So we get, yeah, about 9.8 there. So it makes sense. And obviously it's not perfect because it's not all nice and neat. But yeah, that's what happens basically. So that's, as far as I know, that's why zigzagging works. So you're making use of this extra range on the analog stick. And yeah, you're making use of the extra range and you're basically getting more speed out of it. So it works on the D-pad and it does work on analog sticks. You can't get it perfectly to the edge, but you can get pretty close. So the first thing that I thought when I found out about zigzagging was I thought, alright, so I'm getting more speed, but aren't I just getting more speed sideways, not forward where I want to go? But you do actually get speed forward, because say if you zigzag during a slide, it takes Crash a while to turn around, so that extra speed does go towards forward, and hopefully I can demonstrate that here. So I've got a save state with a slide in it, and you can see my position when I finish is 530. So Z position is just up and down on this bridge, basically, because this bridge is perfectly aligned with an axis. So yeah, 530 when I come out there. But if I zigzag, 542. And I can try again, 545, 546, 539, 543, you know, it's better. And that's just holding up and going left, right, left, right, left, right. And it helps you make jumps, and it just helps your slides get more oomph. So, 552 with that zigzag, 557. Yeah, so it does work. It does contribute to your full speed, not just going sideways in the direction you don't want to go. So yeah, to sum up, the best form of movement is slide, and you zigzag during the slide, and then you do a neutral jump off the end if I didn't mess it up just then. So, like that. And then when you're jumping, in the air you can zigzag and you get about 8.9-ish. So if you want, with your NSJ, about there, about the top of the peak of the jump, is when you would start getting below 8.9. And obviously you can't zigzag in the jump part of an NSJ because you're not holding any directions. And if you do, you'll hit the speed cap. So yeah, there's that. And so yeah, when you hit the peak of the jump, or lower if you want to be safer, lower if you don't think you're that great at zigzagging. Then you start holding forward again and zigzagging, go into another slide. Or you can do angled slides, and that will give you lots of speed as well. See 15.3 with those angled slides, with the XZ velocity, 15.3. But normal slide along an axis is just 12. So yeah, angled slides, zigzagging, they're all good. So you should do those. Zigzag your slides, don't zigzag your jumps. So the other option for movement is you do slide spin. So you just slide, zigzag that, and then do a spin on the end, zigzag that. You can zigzag spins on the ground, just don't zigzag walking on the ground. And yeah, so slide spin is technically faster if you do perfect zigzagging. It's faster to slide spin and do the perfect zigzagging through the whole thing. This is an average speed, so like from when you start the slide to when you start the next slide, just take the average. So the average speed for a slide spin is about 6.72 units per frame. The average speed for an NSJ is about 6.36 units per frame. And you might think, well, why not slide spin? But the thing is, for an NSJ, a lot of that you're not zigzagging. So you can theoretically get more out of an NSJ in RTA because you're not going to be perfect at zigzagging. So less time zigzagging, like during the jump, is good. So yeah, RTA, do NSJs basically all the time. If you think you're god at zigzagging, then do slide spins, I guess, but you know, it's more of a TAS only thing. So the other thing I should mention is running shoes. So running shoes, can't zigzag on the ground, so, well, you can, it just doesn't do anything useful because you turn around too quick. But you can jump and sort of zigzag during the jump. And that speed is about the same as a slide spin with zigzagging speed. About the same. But it's a tiny bit faster. So slide spin, I said, was 6.72 on average. Running with jumping and perfect zigzagging is about 6.75 on average. Probably a little bit lower. So really a TAS would just barely use the running shoes and jumping if it did have the running shoes. But a TAS would use slide spin probably in real life if it didn't use zip zagging. So yeah, NSJ in RTA. And there's also the matter of invincibility. So you can see, I guess, normally 7, looking at this XZ velocity, 7 speed while walking, 12 while sliding, 7 while spinning and all that. Get invincibility goes up to 8.19 while walking, 14 while sliding, and NSJs are similar, you just gradually go down. Spinning after a slide is still 7, so it's no good. You really want to make the most of that 8 speed. So you can see, like, you do a slide and the jump, and then you get, you don't even get all the way back down to 8 when you have invincibility. So yeah, when you have invincibility, even if you're a TAS, the fastest way is like NSJ, same way, zigzag the slide and then neutral the jump. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so to sum up, I guess NSJ all the time, basically. If you're doing RTA, if you're doing a TAS, it would be a bit different. Invincibility with NSJ, the average speed is 7.4. invincibility slide spin, the average speed is 7.2. So yeah, NSJ is faster, even if you were perfect at zigzagging when you have invincibility. The other thing, I guess, is running shoes with invincibility. If you look at it, we got 9.22 on the ground and in the air with running shoes. So there's that. And I mentioned all this stuff about running shoes just in case you're running New Game Plus. So there's this, and 9.47 on the ground, but 9.22 in the air with running shoes when you have invincibility. So it turns out that invincibility doesn't make any difference when you have running shoes. So yeah, running shoes, make no difference with invincibility. That's what I'm trying to say. No difference at all. Invincibility makes no difference when you have running shoes if you are already just doing that, basically. So no difference in the air, at least. But anyway, so yeah, running shoes aren't too useful, and any percent New Game Plus, I reckon, would be slower than just normal any percent because you have that cutscene at the start as well. So yeah, don't use running shoes. Theoretically a tiny bit faster, but not really. So another thing that I should talk about is gaining height when you're just trying to gain height, because we've talked about like going fast horizontally, but we haven't talked about jumping really high. So I'll go into this level, and so a normal jump is pretty much what you'd expect, and then like once you've done Dingodile, you get the double jump, so that's even better. So let's have a look. We're looking at Y position here, so let's see how high a normal jump goes. About 144 before it starts coming back down. So that's the peak there. But if you duck and you jump, we can see it's already above there. About 181 before you go down. So yeah, duck and jump, you get a lot higher than just a normal jump. And that duck could be a slide as well. When I say duck and slide, those are interchangeable. Jump out of a slide, same thing. Okay, so then you've also got duck and jump and spin, and that gets even higher if you do it right. So yeah, you can trust me about that one. Duck and jump gets a certain height, and duck and jump and spin gets even higher. Not heaps, but as long as you spin soon enough. And then there's this trick in this level, and that's why I'm here, is you can kind of ground pound. So ground pound gets a bit of height, so he goes up there. But when would that ever be useful, you think? Because you're just going to come back onto the ground. But it is useful, like, let's see. There, so you can, like, clip through these bits with your ground pound. So it does come in handy. And once you got double jump's obviously a bit higher, but you do a crouch jump, and then you can do a double jump out of that. That's even higher. But then you're thinking, well, like I try and ground pound out of that. Say I wanted to double jump up to a mat and ground pound out of it. Well, you can't ground pound out of a double jump, but you can, because you can do crouch, jump, spin, and then ground pound. So if you quickly press double jump and then spin, and then you can ground pound after it. And I guess the best way would be crouch, spin, double jump and spin, crouch, jump, spin, double jump, spin, and then ground pound. I think my spin count is out. You have a limited number of spins. It's not really useful in this game, but yeah, you can do that, or like that is good as well. So yeah. Crouch, jump, if you want to ground pound out, if you double jump, spin. But most of the time, yeah, it's like crouch jump is probably the most useful one if you want some extra height. Like, say I wanted to, I don't know, double jump up to this mat or something. You try it and you can't, but you can crouch jump it and you can. So yeah, that's how you get height, basically. Pretty straightforward. On these mats, you can hold X to get higher as well. Ground pound if you want to not get so high, I guess. Yeah, so that's that. And then also with platforming, there's these oil slicks. So in these levels, and these are a bit tricky, I suppose. So with zigzagging, my rule is, if you have to hold the direction that you're going on the D-pad or analog stick, then zigzag it. So like you hold the direction forward when you're jumping, so you zigzag that. But if you don't have to hold it, like if you're driving the car, you have to hold X, you don't have to hold the analog stick or D-pad. If you're flying a plane, you don't have to hold the analog stick or D-pad, then you wouldn't zigzag it. But this oil's weird, because I guess you don't have to hold forward, so I guess it isn't really an exception to the rule. But yeah, basically, to sum up, don't zigzag on this oil. Well, you can, but it won't be worth it, and you'll probably just throw yourself off center and screw yourself up for no good reason. So yeah, don't bother zigzagging on this. What you want to do is basically slide across it and then spin before you slide in. So I guess we'll look at... these two velocities aren't super accurate on this, but let's look at post-XZ velocity. So this is literally how many units I'm moving per frame. And you can see it's like 19 there when I'm... or 19 when I'm sliding. And then, I guess, like 13-ish when I'm walking. And then if I slide and then I wait for a spin, it's like 14-ish in the spin. But if you slide and you spin before the slide ends, you keep the slide speed. And I'm just holding forward this whole time. You need to hold forward to start the slides, but you don't really need to. I guess that's why you don't zigzag. But yeah, jumping's alright, but it's nowhere near as good. NSJ is like pretty useless on there. NSJ just like kills your speed. So if you want to jump, hold forward and jump, and you'll keep a lot of speed. But you should be sliding and spinning before the slide ends. Just make sure you spin before, otherwise this happens and you don't get much speed. But yeah. And then when you get to the end of these things, you want to jump off and hold forward. Like hold forward, and then I don't think you even need a zigzag. So yeah, you still get a lot of speed after that. Like you'll notice I jump off and I'm still at 15 even, until I hit a wall. You can keep that speed off these oil slicks by jumping like frame perfectly when you hit the ground, but it's not really worth it because these are so bendy, and it's just not, because the things are so bendy, it's hard to turn. So I would say slide, spin, and then jump, and then slide when you hit the ground. That's probably the best way to do these. A TAS might keep it, but I don't know. Wouldn't really be worth it. Alright, so that's the oil slicks, and yeah, I think that's all I had to say about them. Just, yeah, with this jump, hold forward, don't zigzag it. Well, forward is in whatever way you want to go. And yeah, don't zigzag it, don't neutral it. Yeah, don't neutral it. Yeah, so that's pretty much the oil. While I'm in this level, I will mention something. I just have to get up to that part of the level is all. You don't need to press that box, but I'm a scrub. So these doors here, these are on a global cycle, so basically there's this number that starts ticking up as soon as you start the game. It resets whenever you die, and yeah, so I might actually bring that up, hopefully. I should have prepared that. Yeah, here we go. So this number starts ticking up, and suppose I froze it and stopped it from moving, then see these doors completely stop. So yeah, that's the number. You don't really need to know heaps about that, but basically, yeah, it controls lots of things like those snakes and stuff for all global cycles. Let's see. Another big one is the sharks as well. The wheels in this water, they're global cycles. So the pufferfish, you know, there's really lots of stuff that goes on, but like this wheel, so you know, like that's global cycle. But anyway, back to these doors. I don't have a state of them now, but back to the doors anyway. So they A way to keep them open is get hit and they stay open for a little while, or get invincibility and they stay open for ages. And yeah, so it's a bit hard to know where they are in their cycle. Actually, I'm not sure if they are global or whether they just use this for timing and they go either way. But yeah, if they're not, then remember where they are and just remember get hit or get invincibility through them. And let's see, one more thing to talk about with platforming is this dinosaur thing. So I don't know why people use it, and I would honestly disagree with using it. I don't think they should, but maybe there's some reason, like the lava pits are hard to get past or something. I don't know, but basically what they do in runs is they break that egg for the dino. This is level 11, and yeah, so he comes out here, and you can see like straight away that he's at about 9.85 down there. And that's exactly the same speed as running shoe. So if you do want to get the dino, jump and zigzag with it, and then yeah, that's basically it. But I don't think it's worth it. I think NSJ's 3 here would be fine, and then you skip the dino cutscene. Although, as I said, I'm not sure if there's some other reason why they get it. Yeah. So yeah, that should be all for platforming now. Now we'll move on to swimming levels. So in here, let's watch this value, I think. No, let's watch this value for velocity. 4.10 is what you get. And then spin, you get 9.56. And paddle with X, you get 6.83. So basically, you want to be spinning as much as you can, but you see if you do that, you're at like 4.10 in the middle of all your spinning and stuff. So that's no good. But if you paddle in between the spins, then you're at 6.8. So yeah, the best movement here is basically just mash square and X for the whole time. Or like mash square, then mash X, then mash square. So yeah, you want to spin as much as you can while you're not spinning, you're pressing X to paddle basically. There's a little thing, don't spin over the boxes because it can kill your speed like that. Unless you get really lucky and get right on the end and it gives you a boost like that. So yeah, it's like a frame perfect boost thing, so don't go for that, but yeah, normally it just kills your speed. Maybe I can demonstrate it. I'll demonstrate it hopefully here. So come along, kills your speed completely. So try not to spin on the top of boxes, just spin across them. One thing I should mention is these fans, as we saw just before, they're global cycles, so be careful. What I would really recommend with these fans is, so you know that once you turn the power on the console, this little timer starts ticking up. Like basically, you can think of it as the fans, the spinny circle-y things start spinning as soon as you power on the console, and they just keep spinning. You can think of it like that, although like they don't through loading zones and stuff. But what you could do is you could do this level first, and then figure out exactly where you want the fans, and then it'll be consistent where they are every time. Obviously that won't work for the water level in Warp 3, because yeah, that's just too far into the run to be predictable like that. But yeah, so those spinny things, you should know where they are, and what you should do is you should wait a bit on the title screen until you press start, learn how long you have to wait, and then always do that consistently from the reset or power off on, so that the fans are always in a consistent spot, and like as long as you do this level first, and then yeah, hopefully that makes sense, and then they'll be in the same spot. Unless the other option is you do Orient Express first, and then you do Cuddle Skip earlier on in the run, so that your resets are earlier on, because that's really hard. But yeah, so those are your two options basically. Last thing about water levels is this thing. Just press circle to boost, don't hit things. You can press square just before you press circle, and you'll shoot without losing time. So the best time to shoot is just before you do the boost, because that's just time where you're coming down from a boost anyway, so you can't boost in that time anyway. So yeah, these are the two fans in this level, and they're annoying. In these little thin tubey bits, it's good to use X to paddle rather than spin, because when you're changing direction, like going from sideways to going down, spins aren't as effective, and like it's easier to navigate with these with the paddles than it is with the spins. The other thing with water levels is, so in the last one there's these turbine things, I guess, and the turbines are the spinny water things that kill you. Those are not global cycles, so they'll be predictable every time, and you can't get through all of them. So you want to damage boost through some optimally, but I don't have the route off the top of my head. For that one, you would damage boost through 2 of those turbines, wait for 1, but then you also want 2 masks in Entropy, and so there's 2 turbine damage boosts you can do, and 2 damage boosts in Entropy you can do. And in the TAS, I take all those damage boosts, but in RTA, you need more invincibility. So choose which ones you want to take. The damage boosts in Entropy, they actually save more time. While I'm here, I might actually show the damage boost in Entropy while I'm talking about it. So yeah, there's the underwater level in Warp 3. It's like level 12, I think. And yeah, you can damage boost through the turbines there, which will save you time, depending on the global cycle, of course. And there's the damage boost in Entropy. So let's go over that. So the first phase, you want to damage boost in the first. You don't want to damage boost in the first phase, so just do that normally. Yeah, not much to Entropy, and I won't go over specific bosses, but this is not particularly well documented, so if you watch the TAS, you can read the submission text and find out all about it. Alright, so let's damage boost here. So he's gonna shoot 2 fireballs, get hit by the last one. If I can get hit by the last one, get hit by the last one. Yeah, anyway, try not to be bad at it like me. There we go. I don't have any Aku-Akus. Anyway, you get hit. That was so dumb. I thought I got some from G-Wiz, but I guess not. Anyway, so you get hit by his last fireball in whatever cycle it is, and then he'll do his super death attack. So that happens if you're on the platform with him, and then he does this attack that kills you even if you've jumped off the platform. It just like kills you instantly. And but if you've just gotten hit by a fireball, he does that attack and it doesn't kill you because you're still in the recovery state, even though it kills you when you have masks. Yeah, so he does that attack. So what happens is you get hit by the last fireball. Because that fireball left the arena sooner, it starts his next cycle sooner. And then him doing the super death attack also starts the next cycle sooner. So yeah, there's those things. And yeah, so in either phase 2 or 3, you get hit by his last fireball, let him do the death attack thing, and then he'll start his cycle sooner. Saves over 2 seconds or something, so it's worth going for. Anyway, after that little side note, let's go on to these Great Wall levels. So yeah, there's a little bit that start with Coco, and I know that it doesn't seem very important, but you should know exactly what to do here. So there's basically, look at this flag, and then halfway on this pillar, there's the trigger for you to get on Pure. So right there. So, and you can jump across it as well. So like, jump across it there. And that wastes time, because if you think about it, you're jumping past the trigger. Like, do you want to get on Pure here? Or do you want to get on Pure, like, there? I mean, obviously you choose the first one, because the animation takes the same amount of time no matter what. With Coco, you hold a direction to move, so you better zigzag. And I didn't mention it, but you shouldn't zigzag in the water as well. Don't zigzag. That's an exception to the rule, I guess. So you should zigzag here, but make sure you're jumping. So do zigzag and try and land on that trigger. So on the this bit of ground use this as a reference, the flag and then this bit, and try not to jump past it. But you'll notice that if you go straight away and start jumping, it takes her a little while to build up the speed. So what you should do is walk for a bit, try and do one big jump, I reckon, and then get on there. Or, more like 2 small jumps, I would say. 2 small jumps with zigzagging, and you should get there. I think the TAS does one big jump because the zigzagging is more optimal. But yeah, so just the main thing is let your speed build up a little bit before you start jumping and zigzagging, and then try and land on that spot where you're going to get Pura. Okay, so with Pura you want to hold square to go faster. I would hope you know that from playing casually and doing time trials and stuff, but yeah, hold square to go faster. And let's have a look at the speed here. So 15.35 is about what I'm going. I'm still speeding up because it's the start of the level. But watch what happens when I jump. So I'll do a jump here, 33.6. That's a little bit bigger than 16. And then next frame it goes back down to like 16 or 17. So your speed pretty much doubles for a frame there when you jump. So every time you jump, your speed's doubling for a frame, which means every time you jump, you're saving a frame. So yeah, I mean, jump as much as you can, basically. Little jumps so that you can get more in. And some people do stuff like getting under the level on the wall. It's a bit hard, and in my opinion, it's not worth going for in speedruns. But if you really want to, you can get under this wall and do lots of jumps. It's really hard though. TAS does it, obviously, but you run the risk of dying, as you're seeing a lot there. See, I got an extra, like 1 extra jump in there. You can run through those barrels if you're not jumping as well. I didn't know that for a long time. But yeah, so yeah, basically at this level, just keep jumping as much as you can and you'll be fine. So one thing I'll just mention, which is right at the end of this level, is the cuddle skip. So what happens is Coco usually cuddles Pura, and then the level, like, then you can walk to the warp and the level ends. But that's like really slow cutscene, so you want to skip that ideally. So I'll just get here and I'll save a state right at the end of the level here. So hopefully I can show it. So I'll show you what normally happens. Well, you get on this, and then you cuddle, and you slowly walk over to the warp. See, that's no good. So you can use this roof to your advantage. So you jump on the roof, do 1 jump in the roof to get higher, and then do 1 jump out of the roof. So that works, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It worked there. I thought it didn't for a moment. When you're inside the roof and you do that jump inside the roof, the later that jump is, the better. So there's cuddle skip. The ones that I've got there weren't very good because it took a while to get to the warp. But basically you want to jump from as high as possible and then hopefully get in the warp. That one was a little bit better. But yeah, people find this really hard, and yeah, so you get in the roof, 1 jump inside the roof and then 1 jump out the roof is what I would recommend. So there's that, and there's another cuddle skip you can do. This is the second level of this. I'm really bad at this one. What you need to do is you need to jump on the guy. You take damage, so you need a mask. You can do it without damage, actually. I forgot exactly how it works, but it is slower. So jump on the guy, take damage, hold right here. Always hold right, because that is the key to this trick. You want to hold right, and then you get in. Make sure you hold right, because that's the thing that got me stuck for ages. Like, just hold right. As soon as you hit his head, don't let go of right, whatever you do. You want to hit the edge there, and then that gets extra speed so that you can do it. So you jump on the guy's head, jump up to the head, jump up to the flag, jump off the flag, because you can sort of jump off the flag when you see the tiger running there, and then you slide in, go right in. So yeah, that's the second cuddle skip in my opinion. It's a lot harder, but just the trick is hold right. Always hold right. Okay, so yeah, so let's move on to the jet ski levels. These are great. Yeah, okay, so I'll just show this one because there's no point showing the other. Basic movement for this level is easy. I mean, just, I guess, hold X to go forward. You don't zigzag because you're not using the D-pad or analog stick to move, you don't zigzag. You can see right there with my speed, it's not doing anything. If anything, it's making it worse. And then, yeah, just go forward. If you need, so you turn a certain... Jumps don't matter as well. You see my speed doesn't really change over that jump. If it does, it'll probably go lower. You got a certain turning amount that you have, but if you need to turn more, then you hold down and turn. So you can see how tight that is and how not tight this one is. So yeah, hold down and turn if you need more turning. And so just do the level how you think it would look if this game resembled normal physics, basically. So yeah, just take straight lines everywhere, can't hurt. Try not to bonk things. Take your corners in close so you can start turning. You know, just do racing tech, basically. But the way that it works is really weird, and these levels work in such a way that no matter how you do, as long as you don't die, then you pretty much get the same time every time. So hopefully I can demonstrate this, and I guess like these waves are global cycles as well, and like for 105%, it's important with the jumps and the boxes and the waves and stuff, but it's not really important here. So let me start and watch post XZ velocity, and we go and it gets to like 32.18, right? So that was when I was moving at 45 degrees as well. So I've drawn a nice picture here. So here's the x-axis of the level, here's the z-axis of the level, and that's the way we start. That's 45 degrees, pretty much. So cool, that's that. And then what if I changed my angle to move it, say, I don't know, 84 degrees? Look, I'm only moving 22.85, but before I was moving 32.18. What's the deal with that? I'm glad you asked. So basically what happens is, watch my x velocity here. 22.76, so is my z. But watch my x velocity here, 22.76. Watch my x velocity here. That's not good because I went past 45. How about here, 22.76? So then, yeah, the only difference here is if I turn, it doesn't increase the x and lower the z. It just lowers the z. So like by turning, all you're really doing is like you're still going full speed in this direction, the x direction, but you're going less fast. So instead of going out 45 degrees, you're sort of taking an angle like that, but you're not going any slower this way. You're only going less fast this way. So what happens is, so there's like, I guess here's the other 45 degrees from x. So if you're going anywhere in between these two angles in red, you're going full speed in this x direction. Going full speed there. And it's the exact same reasoning for z. So like if you're going in between those two angles, it's full speed in z. So you always go full speed in x when you go this in between these angles. And yeah, same for z and stuff. But once you start going out from this angle, you'll be going 0 speed in the x direction if you're going along this line, and then you'd start going back that way. So I guess if you're going, oh wow, if you're going in between these two angles, then you're going full speed that way. So yeah, and you can see it on the game because you remember I said like 22.76 down in this x velocity here. So where's 22.76 until I get to like 100 and something. I guess we'll find out. About 135. Yeah, so that's that. So basically any way you go, you can see I'm not changing x velocity. So really, even if I went here and then even if I took a straight line, pretty straight line, I guess I get to this at about frame, let's see, 184, 149. But even if I wobbled and did like crappy ski driving, yeah, I forgot what the original one was actually. Oh, no, I messed it up, sorry. Alright, let's try that again. So I started the original one. What is it? 184, 150-ish. So I do crappy ski driving, hopefully. Now I'm not quite lined up with it, but we can see where it is. I'm going about past that circle at about 184, 150. So yeah, I'll do another crappy one. Yeah, there it is. Exactly past it at 184, 150. So it doesn't matter. Like, my point is, it doesn't matter. You can drive like crap. Basically always get the same time. So you should be able to pretty much tie a world record every time you do it. And the only thing where it really does matter is if you're not going along an axis. But like, I'll just go through the level. Here, basically, I'm just trying to get X position. Because, I mean, I do need to go somewhat in the Z, which is like that way. But the most I need to go is forward in the X position. So as long as I'm going 22.76, I'm happy. I'm going to make it at the same time no matter what. And then we'll turn around here and not die. Yeah, so get X position here. Just get as much X position as you can. Turn around. Oh, look, I need to go in the Z direction. So it doesn't matter what I do here. I'll turn around. Look, I need to go in the X position now, so I'll just wave around here. Even though I'm driving like crap, I'll still get to the end of this boat at the same time. So really, don't worry. And jumps don't matter either, because see, it doesn't change my X speed at all. So yeah, do a tight turn around this boat, and you're fine, as long as you don't hit it. Oh look, I need to go in Z position. So yeah, jet ski levels, easy peasy. Don't worry about them. Don't even worry about taking lines too straight if it's messing you up for some reason. As long as you, like, if you really want to learn exactly what lines you can take, learn where the level axes are, and you'll be fine. That's why the TAS can do crap like weaving and stuff, which looks like it'll lose time, but it doesn't. That's enough of the stupid jet ski levels. Let's talk about driving. You want to get a boost at the start, so hold the X button. I like to do it after the second light. I've forgotten now exactly where you can do it, but it might be the first light, I'm not sure. So it depends on when you press boost. It can have some differences. Like if you... The optimal time to press boost is close to the earliest possible time that you can press it, but it's not exactly. But it does make a difference, but it's the smallest difference. You can see I'm moving like 31 units every frame, and you only gain 1 or 2 units if you do the boost optimally. So you gain maybe 1/15 of a frame, and a frame is 1/60th of a second. So really, it doesn't matter. Just boost, as long as you get a wheelie, it's fine. So yeah, that's boost, and the idea of these levels, I guess, as you'd know from playing it casually, is you want to get zippers on the ground. So hopefully I come across one soon. Now watch my speed now, it's at about 30. I guess this is my absolute speed, but a bit like the jet ski levels, it kind of depends on where you lined up with the level axis. But bam, right up to 40.96. And then down to 38. 38 is about the speed that you get. And I hit another zipper there, you saw it went up to 40. So even if you have a wheelie, if there's another zipper that you can hit without going too much out of your way, you should hit it. It saves about 5 or 6 frames, I think. So yeah, hit another zipper even if you already have a wheelie, as long as it doesn't mess up your path through the road. So yeah, those are zippers and I guess how to manage them. One thing you might want to do is come down from a zipper. And I guess like if you got a zipper, you can drive over holes. So those jumps I could have gone over, like these jumps. But I mean, you can see I've just got a constant speed through there, and I'm missing zippers by doing that. But like, it doesn't matter because you would lose way more speed from the jumps. And if you're coming down from a zipper, then like I'll show you this. So after this hole, I'm going to let go of the zipper. And suppose you needed to let go to turn a corner or something, then you would think you just let go of it for a tiny bit and then start holding X again to go, right? And let's see, I guess I crossed the finish line at frame 169,387. That's when I cross it. Okay, but if I let go of it and I keep the X button, like I let go of it and I don't press it again, then hopefully, I've forgotten what it was now, 383 versus, nah, pretty sure, yeah. Well, if not, you can take my word for it, that if you let go of the zipper, then basically don't press it again. If you have to let go of the wheelie, then keep it let go until you think you're down at normal speed. Which, like, if I let go of it, I guess here, like, normal speed would be ages away. It's probably like a few seconds, so yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's the zippers. So it's a tiny, tiny little detail, but if you do have to let go of a zipper, then keep it let go of. Like, don't go and press X again straight away. Otherwise, you'll slow down faster, which is bad. One other thing I should mention. Unfortunately, I don't have it here, but I'll just mention it. At the end of the very first driving stage, there's this jump that you go over at the end, and you have a zipper before the jump. Basically, when you at the end of that jump, you should let go of X, so you should not hold it. Basically, once you go over that jump, just let it go. Don't press it again until like maybe just before the finish line or something. So yeah, I need to show about axis alignment in this level. It's not super important for a lot of people, but we need to talk about it. So you can, so my speed here is 38.23, basically. I'm going 38.23 in the Z direction, which is exactly forward on the road. And the angles that you can take are very discrete. So you can only take on specific angles. So you can press a direction to move across, but you might not necessarily even change the angle that you're moving at all. But anyway, so I'll try and change it a bit. Remember, it was 38.23 in the Z direction. There we go. So 174. So I'm not going straight anymore. And it's 38.23 still, but it's just added to the X velocity. So in total, I'm actually going a little bit faster. So I was going this way at full speed, and it's kind of added a little bit of speed in that direction. So I'm really going out not quite straight, but I'm not going any slower straight. So this is another one of them things where physics, the in-game physics don't really resemble real physics sometimes when you get really close to it. So anyway, yeah, there. So as long as you can, like, if you can just do a tiny little turn on the road, suppose you needed to turn a corner, like, you need it, and like, for example, here, so here I'm going like 37.55 in 169, 164, I'm still going 37.55. So like maybe the, I guess, the angle between like there and there, you're still going the same speed forward. And the angle between there and there, you're still going the same speed forward. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it'd be super useful for RTA, but just remember, yeah, you can get away with these really close angles to the, like angles that are really close to going forward, but you're not going quite forward, yet you're not losing any, time going, you're not losing any forward speed. You're only adding to your sideways speed, so it really, you're technically going a little bit faster. But yeah, don't think of it like you're going faster, just think about it like you're still going forward. And by moving sideways, you're not losing any time going forward, you're just moving sideways on the road. But if you move too far sideways, then you do start losing time going forward. So yeah, and another thing is, like, I can already see it because the TAS is coming out soon, and I will link the no item glitch TAS in the description. But I can already see the comments that, like, oh, you didn't take this corner quite right, or your turns are very choppy. But this is the reason why, because at the really low level, it doesn't resemble normal physics. So yeah, got to be aware of that. One very last thing with the driving stages is, I talked about going over holes, but there's this specific hole that isn't in RTA, so people don't go over it in speedruns, but I will mention it because it's not impossible, so if you do want to do it, then you can. It's this one, and you can make it over, so it's like, it's in the TAS as well, so you can see why people don't do it, but it is possible. It's a bit counterintuitive as well. You want to aim for the widest part of the rope. There we go. So you can make it over. And yeah. One thing as well is, if you have a wheelie and you need a turn, so let me see. I'll just get one here. If you have a wheelie and you need to do a sharp turn but you don't want to lose your wheelie, you can actually brake a bit. So here's my turn, but I'm going to brake a bit and I get a little bit of a sharper turn. If you brake so much that you go down past your normal driving speed, you lose the wheelie. But yeah, you can brake a bit and then speed back up after your wheelie. I haven't found any place to use that, but yeah. So there's this hole that you can go over, and I guess you can get over this side too. Although, like, then you're on the other side of the road, which is really bad. I mean, I guess you could do that or something. The right-hand side of the hole is a lot easier. But I wanted to just mention this specific hole because it's not in any speedruns that I know of. So yeah, that's all for the driving levels. Now we better talk about flying levels, but there's not really much to say about flying levels. During the start of the flying levels, you can actually turn a little bit. So let's see. So I'm going to hold right here, and you can see. Oh, damn it. Yeah, Coco's head is pointing right. So you can see that, like, there I start the level kind of facing away from that balloon, but if I didn't hold right, then I guess. Yeah, see? So it does make a difference. And in this level, you want to go right first to hit that first blimp, and then. Yeah. So the way to do the blimps in the TAS way is a little bit harder than RTA because it's just of the heights of the blimps. But I like this sort of way you do that blimp, and then you do that blimp, and then you do that blimp, and then that one, and that one, and that one. So yeah, with the blimps, you wanna. So there's two ways to do the blimps, and so here, notice I'm not hitting them because the bullets are going above them. So I could, like, point my nose down at them gradually. And also, with these bullets, don't mash. Mashing is not any faster even if you do it perfectly. Just hold it. Or you could get down to the blimp's level and then fire at it like that. Probably getting down to its level is best, I would think, for RTF. But theoretically, just pointing your nose down at it is better. Because if you notice, like, I'm flying at, I guess, 7.67 there. But if I start pointing my nose up, see how it drops dramatically to, like, I don't know, 6.79. So every time you point your nose up or down, you lose some forward speed. And barrel rolling doesn't give you any more or make you lose any speed, so don't worry about that. You have an air brake with X, and that slows you down, but I can't think of a place that you would actually use that. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this. So I think I've covered everything that I wanted to. If not, I'll add it to the description or something like that. So hopefully this helped, and if I've missed something or you want to ask questions or anything, feel free to ask. And thanks for watching.